we like to bring to you the point of view of the Italian rural network on the implementation of LEADER over the years, and on a few things that a few examples that have something to do with the bottom-up approach and to a certain extent to innovation. What we have observed of the implementation of LEADER over the years and in the old Italian regions, analyzing a lot of programs and a lot of operations and projects, is that we found a discrepancy between what LEGs aim to achieve in the strategies and what they actually managed to get. This in terms of fostering innovation, strengthening integration between the local actors, disseminating practices, and so on. And we notice also that this difference has become more pronounced with the transition of a leader from a fairly independent method, let's say, to a measure embedded in the RDPs. Of course, there's not just one resource for that, but many of them. But of course, one that is being much underlined during this morning is the, you know, that, I'm sorry, doesn't work, the keyboard. That the implementation process of an average leader intervention in Italy consists of at least 7 administrative phases, which are divided into 30 steps, which involves at different times all the implementing bodies. And this process regards over 2,300 interventions, and this is just an old figure because it's refers back to 2019. Every intervention sees about 2.5 calls, and for each call there are about 10 applications. So this huge administrative burden led many managing authorities to align the leader interventions as much as possible to the implementation mechanisms and the contents of the common RDP measures. And so reducing the room for the LEGs to move within their local strategies, to plan specific operation or projects, or intervention directly managed by them, or more complex types of projects like some that we already mentioned. As you can see in this diagram, very few managing authorities allow their LEGs to freely, let's say, cross over the tracks laid down with standard common RDP measures. And so within the rural network, the idea of these collaborative laboratories came from the will, let's say, to support the dialogue between the LEGs and all the local actors they deal with, including the managing authorities, and to exchange information, to sharing plans with a stable collaboration, not just once in a while. And so we thought of Simplify Leader just like a research, participatory research, more than a series of workshops. We started from specific situations, specific aspects, and trying to involve the entire community, try to go through a series of steps that hopefully led to identification of ready-to-use solutions. And the training for the actors to use these solutions. Now, for each activity, we try to put in place as much as possible the suitable methodological and analytical tools. And I'm not going through all of them, of course, right now, but I'm just trying to focus on a couple of them that deal with the bottom-up approach. Um, the first of all is what we call leader index. And it's a kind of mapping of leader models in Italy. Made it assigning a score to various elements of the strategies, of the regional provisions, of the interventions, and so on. And so we have come to identify 4 types of leader approaches on the basis of, let's say, two dimensions, the decision-making and the functional autonomy. And so to simplify, let's say that in the left part of the graph, you find the regions and the managing authorities in which the legs, let's say, the legs must replicate on a small scale the RDP system. While on the right, you see the regions whose legs act more like a territorial development agency. There is not necessarily wrong or right, or good or bad, and a negative figure doesn't necessarily mean a bad score, but it's just different approaches, you know. Anyway, just to go to the second example, you can see on the side of the diagram, there's Tuscany. It was one of those regions where legs could implement only the standard RDP measures through ordinary interventions. And one thing we have focused on the laboratory on Simplify Leader is the type of project that can be implemented, you know, in the strategies. We heard some example from our colleagues, umbrella projects, small case projects, and one of them is some complex integrated multi-measure projects shared by a group of beneficiaries, which be gathering partnerships with the leading partner. And following the outbreak of COVID, the Tuscany region, let's say, felt the need to introduce some actions able to support the rural areas in a difficult time, and creating tools that could be implemented for that emergency, but that could be remain useful even after that. And they realized that the leader and the legs play a key role in that. On the basis of some of the evidences already emerged in our workshops, in our research, we try to build a kind of common path, a year-long journey, let's say, to enable legs to support what they call community projects, and to activate a series of collective services and to favor the public-private cooperative process at the local level. So the first phases, which are the white clouds, so a more significant participation of us, of the rural network, and led to the drafting of a kind of common intervention, a common structure, and to provide a training to the legs to prepare them to then accompany the formation, the gathering of the partnerships. The second phase, which is the yellow one, is where the managing authorities, the legs, the paying agencies work together to define all the technical aspects. Common calls, common information system, checklists for controls and audits, etc. And then in the end, the rural network will take on a role again, just to start a kind of joint evaluation activity on the effectiveness and efficiency of this intervention, but this will come later. So the implementation mechanisms are standardized, but each leg can then focus their community projects on their preferred issues. be they sustainable tourism rather than development of historic centers or public services. I didn't manage to translate this slide in English, I'm sorry, but this is a map of the themes and project proposals that emerged during the territorial animation of one of the legs. And now, after that, the legs is working to try to aggregate the potential partnerships with common themes and to prepare them to the second phase of the project, which is the public call to the final implementation of the projects, which will start next month. So if we return to the previous graph, we can say that this kind of change of direction in the organization in Tuscany, with a more bottom-up approach and in an extent in an innovative approach to the method, to the leader method, leads the Tuscany region to move towards another sector where the leg is not only just a technical tool, but also is a development agency. And this is all I wanted to share with you. This is just a few links to the websites of the legs of our laboratories and some of the outcomes of the research. And just one last thing that I wanted to say is that we try to bring this approach and these elements that we discovered in the drafting of the new leader intervention for the upcoming CAP plan. So thank you very much.